Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. Another Monday Night Football. We will have various Monday Night Football as Liga MX returns this week. Super excited. I know football has been back for a couple, months, but honestly, guys, it doesn't feel the same if Liga MX isn't back. Seeing our Leon on a weekly basis, I know Louis can't attend in person, but I know we all dearly miss watching our team. So we will have lots to talk about as Guardianes 2020 comes back this week, and we'll definitely be talking about what happened in Copa Telcel, our pre-temporada cup, as we should have won that. But hey, we're gonna talk about that first. Kind of letting you know how our current team is at the moment, with who's left, who's come, anything else in regards to rumors that we've heard. And we're definitely going to talk about their preview against Chivas, as they also came from a pre-temporada cup, which they lost just like us. So we will have lots to talk about today. And we're here with the gang. Everybody, how are we tonight?
Anxious to see games that mean something for Club Leon.
Yeah.
To get that sour taste out of our mouth.
Yeah.
That Copa Telcel.
We got a bittersweet taste left in our mouth.
Yeah, definitely. We will have lots to talk about. Hello, everybody who's watching us from via YouTube and Periscope. Thank you for joining us. More than welcome to leave any comments that we will show on the screen. But yeah, so let's get started. Let's first talk about Copa Telcel, a small Copa. Basically, we had to face Juarez to see if we would get into the final. And first game up was against Juarez last week. We had a preview with Caballeros del Norte, with Eduardo, and how his team was going to come into this cup. We had various different scoreboards in regards to how that game went. Jose, talk to me about the lineup that Leon brought out in that first game versus Juarez, please.
So versus Juarez, Leon actually came out with 4-4-2, I believe, and it was Cota on goal. The midfield duo was Tecillo and Barreiro. Navarro on right back, Jairo on left back. On the midfield, it was Montes and Ivan Rodriguez, because Pedro Aquino was injured, so Ivan took his place. And Meneses was playing on the left, Mena on the right, and Armando Leon on top on the left, and on the right, Nico Sosa.
Definitely what we expected as, a lineup that was going to kind of look like what could be, a starting lineup for mostly the season. I know Carlos got scared because we were like, what's going on with Pedro Aquino? He's not even on the bench. So I know Carlos got pretty scared at the beginning.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But it's good to know that he's good. And he started the second game, so it's all good.
All good. So anybody, how do we feel about this lineup? Do you guys think it's a lineup that we would see against Chivas? Which we're not going to go into the preview, but do you think it's a strong lineup to kind of remain consistent, or are you guys still iffy about a couple of players in that lineup versus Juarez?
I think it's a pretty strong lineup. I mean, I actually think it's the better lineup from the two that we presented in the cup. Mm-hmm. With the exception of Pedro Aquino, I'd rather have Aquino in there than Jefecito.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Jefecito, I don't know what's up with him. He hasn't looked great since he came back from that long injury, even dating back to last season. And I prefer Aquino there too. Otherwise, I think that's a pretty strong lineup.
Yeah. I feel the same, and just like you mentioned, Ivan Rodriguez doesn't have the best of games, and it was more evident against Hornets' opponent. But I think Pedro Aquino should take the starting place right now. But I think it's because not only did it took him a while to get back, but also those 4 months that he was without activity. So I think it's taking him more. So I think the more time he plays, he'll probably get better. But right now, Aquino should be starting.
Definitely.
Tom, any thoughts?
Yeah, there's a potential just question if either of them are quite good enough to cover, like we've spoken about before here, the amount of players that push forward for Leon. You know, if just one of them is enough, and I'm not sure. You're right. Ivan's been, if you look at his defensive numbers, they've dropped since he's come back from his injury. So I think it's right to say that he hasn't been quite at the same level. And then Aquino is someone who is always, making a lot of defensive actions, but is sometimes just making bad decisions and is too aggressive. And obviously he's someone who can pick up a lot of cards, but also, can get taken out of the midfield quite easily by trying to win the ball when he just needs to hold his position, hold the shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, he has not been durable in terms of injuries historically. So we found out the first game. Yeah. We found out the first game he's not in the lineup, and of course, Carlos more than anybody. But we were all worried. Well, what's his situation with the team? Are they getting rid of him? Is that why he's not playing? And then it turns out not to be that. But then it turns out they're holding him out because he took a knock and he's like injured, lightly injured, and they don't want to risk it. Well, that's kind of been the story of his time with the team. He's not particularly durable. He's not among the most durable players, and so that to me wasn't much better news. Okay, yes, his status with the front office is okay, but he's out due to injury. Well, what else is new?
Yeah. He definitely isn't your typical defensive midfielder. Like he likes to go forward a lot. So that's just like you mentioned, Tana. When he does that, then that's when he leaves us exposed in the back and for a counter attack.
Yeah, he's not very disciplined. I think is the sense, but he is. He is a player who offers so much, and I guess probably what will happen with these 5 subs, with players coming off of so much time not playing, there's going to be quite a bit of rotation, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can definitely see that this season Ambriz has a headache, but it's in a good way because we actually have different players that can play different roles, and that's just kind of how Leon plays. I think for that match, I don't know about you guys, but Jairo just looks better every season. And it's exciting to see what's going to happen this season. Also, Meneses, that game against Juarez, I don't know, he just blew my mind. Like, just watching him, like, throughout the field, the way he just, like, moves so quickly. I would call him Siete Pulmones because he is everywhere. Like, he's just insane. I don't know what your thoughts on those two, or if did anybody else, like, kind of make you be like, oh, like what's going on with this player? He's looking better than he has before.
Yeah, Jairo, I think I mentioned you guys in the chat. After so many months without seeing him play, I was been watching him on TV, which is a vantage point I usually don't get. I was just amazed at how long his strides are and how quickly he gets from one end of the field to the other, which is why he was transformed into more of a wingback role instead of a purely winger type role, because he can theoretically get back to a defensive position after being so heavily involved in the attack so quickly because of those long strides that he has. I did see some chatter about him not really still having a full grasp of being in a defensive position and giving up spaces, and that how a lot of people still would prefer to see the CEO in that role. And I've mentioned on here I like the CEO in the fullback role as well, but Jairo just has so many qualities, that dangerous qualities that make him such an asset. I was particularly impressed by him too, Kari. When you mentioned him, I was like, yeah, he's a dude whose qualities really shined in these 2 games. I feel like.
Yeah, he looks 10 times more comfortable in that position than he did last season, and as Louis said, he has like incredible strides. I mean, he looks like an ostrich running down the left wing. and he has offensive qualities. Like his natural role is to be a left winger, so he can easily just juke defenders anytime he wants to. Yeah, I mean, I do agree his defensive qualities aren't fully there, but I think, as the season goes on, I think Ambriz will probably have to try to buckle him down in that left wing. I mean, sorry, not the left wing, the left back role, and tell him, hey, you can't go up that much, man. We have Navarro and you going up there. Like, you're just gonna leave Tecillo and Barreiro in the back, and it's gonna be chaos, especially with Barreiro.
Yeah, I think.
I think Barreiro looked kind of good that game. Like, I don't know what you guys think, but he looked better than I think what we saw the bit of last season.
Yeah, but like there's something though. Like that game versus Juarez was kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it was like a mirage. Like,
yeah,
we looked great out there, but then Juarez didn't really offer much.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know how to take that game. But so what you were saying, like, yeah, so Jairo has definitely improved a lot. Like, from what I remember, when he came to Leon, he came as a left winger, and when he came on and played in that role, he didn't look comfortable, even though that was his natural role.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Ambriz like moved into the left back. But now that after what is it now, like 3 seasons that he's been at the club? Now, like, well,
I believe Apertura 2018 was his first season. I think.
Yeah, it was. Because he was
so
like
then,
he was like.
So
Elias.
this will technically be his fourth short season. Yeah.
Okay, so then, well, after 4 seasons, we finally see him like be comfortable in the role which he was brought for, and not the role that he adopted. So that's good to see. Like, and how Kari was saying, like, he wasn't just in left back, and that as a winger on the left, he was playing as a left back, as a left winger. He was playing at times in the middle as an attacking midfielder. He was playing as a right winger. He would change. Yeah, I mean, that guy was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised. And Meneses was, I think, at least with Juarez, he looked pretty good where he was at. Like, he was behind the striker, and then he tended to drift to the right as a right winger. So that was interesting to see. Like, I think it could work, and it could be a tactic that Brice could use in other games. But yeah, I mean, they both look great.
Well, we know he's good. He's good with both feet. I mean, that great LAFC in the home leg was with his right. Even though, I mean, he's had some good goals that I can recall with his right. I mean, he's pretty good with both, even though he's better on his left.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just the kind of guys we have up front. That's the kind of guys they look for. Guys who are good, both feet, who can just wreak havoc and cause chaos and be unpredictable. And I think, especially in that first game, we saw a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't think Juarez was the correct measuring stick for us to
exactly
to I guess get the correct feedback from where our team is currently at, because they didn't really offer much. They didn't really attack. I mean, what was possession? I mean, they had possession, like 15% of the time, and they barely had any opportunities. So they made people like Steven Barreiro look good, and yeah,
it's especially because before coming to this match, we had already played versus now Liga de Expansión side Mineros and versus Necaxa, which usually is it's a pretty good contender and in Liga match, and then Juarez, sorry, I forget what's her friend's name again.
Eduardo?
Eduardo.
Eduardo.
Okay. So as he mentioned that before this game they had only played one match, and it was versus like Santos Sub 20. So that's like nowhere near the level that we play. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
it was strange as well because like they completely played into your hands, which was, you know, I'm used to the Juarez we saw being quite a counter-attacking team. This is how they did pretty well in the Clausura, but they came out and kind of tried to press a bit higher against you and tried to play a higher line, and it just completely played into your game because you had the quality to pass it around them and then just dink balls over the top, and you scored two identical goals. Like 2 goals are just a ball over the top and then chip the keeper. So yeah, they really played into your hands, but I think you guys may be being a little bit harsh on your team, because for me to come back after so long out, I know they played a couple of friendlies, but the fluidity in the movement, the interchanging of positions, the way they were moving the ball around the pitch was quite amazing after so long out, I thought.
It was,
Yeah.
but I gotta say, I was still, even so, a little disappointed in Juarez, partly because of Eduardo talking him up. You know, he didn't expect to win, but you could tell he was confident in his team, and they've given us fits. I mean, obviously, the last few times we played them ended up being lopsided score lines in our favor, but it's an optical illusion. They were not easy matches, I would say, and in each case we were scored on first, and we had to come from behind to win. They've given us fits, and they have pretty much the same team, and they're dangerous theoretically. I expected a little bit more from them, and so I think what Carlos is saying is true. We look good, but they didn't end up being such a great measuring stick, especially when you judge our play in the second game of the Copa, where we look completely different. It's just. In these little Copas, everybody's going to exaggerate. When you win as big as we did, we're going to be champs. And then, we struggle a little bit more in the second game, and all of a sudden we're beatable. So it's I don't know. It was disappointing.
But I think
from how well that first game looked to the second one. It just makes you think differently. Did we overrate our performance in the first game? Or are we really not as good as we thought we were? I don't know. If we'd had as good a game in the second as we did in the first, we wouldn't be having this conversation, obviously.
Yep.
But,
I think, I think that there were some factors to that. Like I don't know if we're gonna talk about this now, but like, at least I can think of a certain minute when a lot of changes were made, and I think that's when it just went downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you have to take that into account. I think the Pachuca game was completely different because Pesolano came out to try and win that game. I think he really wanted to win that game because he played it smart. What he did was say, we've seen how this Leon team can play around teams and are so dangerous in the attack. So we're going to come out with 5 at the back and just sit back, just sit deep. That's all they did. They barely played in the first half. They didn't want to. They just wanted to defend. And they had one tactic, which was try and find Romario Ibarra on the counter. And they didn't manage to have much success with that. And I thought that Leon did kind of all they could do, which was keep the ball and create one good enough chance to score. It was going to be tough to create chances. And then they waited for Ambris to inevitably go, right, well, we've got a league game next week. I can't be playing Montes all 90. So you take Montes off. You took Tasil off as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else came off, but I think it was 4 changes early on in the second half. And then Pesolano made his changes, went more attacking, and ended up turning the game around in his favor. But, those subs, Leon's never going to make those subs in a league game. You're never going to take Tasil and Montes off in the same minute.
Hope not.
True.
That'd be like midfield backbone with defensive backbone. Like that's just leaving us like with no strength at all. It's like allowing, hey, come at us, like
And then he leaves Nacho, which he's not like he hasn't has the speed of as a defender anymore. And then Barreiro, who we know Barreiro, he did a pretty good game before, but he's like he reminds me of Mosquera. Like he might have a good game, but then all of a sudden then that's game.
Like the opposite.
Yeah.
So now that Tom brought up Pachuca, let me just Wiso said, let's go. Another Leon fan. Hi, all. Hello. Thanks for joining. Carlos, give me the lineup for ahead of the Pachuca game, as we did win versus Juarez, which all of us was very conservative on our scoreboard. We didn't imagine that game being a high scoring game in our favor, but we did end up facing Pachuca. And let us know what was the starting lineup for Pachuca.
Right. So there were a couple of changes. I think we had 3 changes from the first lineup. So we had Cota on goal, and then we had Navarro, Tecillo, Barreiro, and Moreno in the back. And then we had Aquino, who was back, thankfully. We also had Montes, Mena, Meneses, who played, I guess, as a false 9 behind Nico Sosa. And then we also had El Avión Ramirez, who was the surprise starter. But it was good to see him get some minutes. I thought he looked pretty good out there in the first half, but second half I think was disastrous for him. Well, for the whole team, I think.
Yeah.
I think Avion, I remember we're talking off camera. I think for the first couple of minutes in the first half, I was like, man, like obviously we wanted to see how he adapted, because obviously it's not easy to throw in a new player and just quickly like adapt like nothing. Like we had our doubts about Hilburon, and I know Louis loves talking about how that ended up.
Club Leon legend Hilburon.
But we definitely were thinking, okay, how is Avion gonna add up? And I think for a bit he was struggling, just because Leon is so used to, like you're saying, just so interchangeable like parts during the game. So I think in order for him to keep up, he definitely needs the experience. I think that's what these games are for. But yeah, I think we all can agree second half was just terrible.
Yeah, there's going to be some growing pains. I mean, we judged him very, very harshly in the moment. Maybe we shouldn't be judging him so harshly now. But you want to see a guy who a new incorporation into the roster be a useful piece. And I don't know. It's probably unfair to say his play cost us the game, but that's what it felt like at the time. I mean, in a sense that he missed his PK. I guess it is literal. But we're probably a little too harsh on him. I guess I would say about him, in an ideal world, in a tournament where we're only playing league matches, there won't be Copa, there won't be Conca Champions, anything like that. A guy like him hopefully won't have to get all that many minutes. That would be the ideal scenario, that he hardly has to play, that he's like emergency break the glass kind of dude. But even in that situation, you don't want him to go out there and be the difference between winning and losing in a negative way.
Yeah.
And that second half was para el olvido, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think what Avion gave us was for Jairo to just have full mobility on that left side. Like he was just up there like nobody's business. But yeah, I think,
I think he played the don't tire anyone important out role. Which was, he started at left wing, then he went to left back, then he appeared in centre mid, then he ended the game at right back. It was just like, let's not tire anyone important out. This guy can play the full 90 and we're good.
Yeah.
I really think that you saw Ambriz thinking a lot about the first game against Chivas.
Yeah.
A lot.
I know. I think it's just, Tom, I think it's just the stigma of also that first match really changed our psychological approach to the second. We got greedy. We saw how good they looked. We want more. It doesn't matter that this cup means nothing. We want to win it, especially on our pitch. and as well as we played in that first game. And the stigma that
But
Ambriz carries
would you rather lose that game, or would you rather win that and not beat Chivas, or would you rather?
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Exactly. I mean, we talked to Marcelo about this in the week that we lost to San Luis right before our first Conca Champions match, and he's like, "It's better to lose that one and win the next one." Well, this is obviously a much more exaggerated form of that. Yeah, we don't. It's much more important to win your match day one than to win a stupid friendly cup. But just our psychology changed from that first match, how good we looked. Okay, we got to win this. And also, I was going to say, the stigma that Ambriz carries with him of not being able to win a final. Doesn't matter what final it is. He hasn't been able to win one. And there was a trophy at play here. I put this in all my social media. I was like, no serious fan is going to say when there's a trophy in play that they don't want that trophy. I wanted that trophy, and we didn't get it. It was also kind of a cool-looking trophy, much more cool-looking trophy than
it was better than the Copa por Mexico,
some of the trophies in other Copas that I'm not going to mention because they didn't involve our team. Yeah, I wanted that trophy, and we didn't get it, and that kind of stung. Even though you're absolutely right, Tom, you're absolutely right. That Copa means nothing. If we win against Chivas, we're not going to remember even having this conversation about the Copa Telcel.
Do you know why I wanted that Copa?
Why?
Because the last time that we won that Copa, that's when we won. I forget if it was first the Sexta and then or if it was the Bicampeonato. I believe it was when we won the sixth championship, when we won that Copa that year. We were just we just won everything that year, even this friendly Copa. That's why I wanted us to win. Even though it didn't mean
superstitious.
Anything. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's not a bad thought. You already know Chiva Hermano said, tell Jose that Vado wants all the FIFA smoke. We always do a friendly FIFA match preview the Chivas and Leon game. So Jose is always our designated person to play a FIFA match. So I'm pretty sure we will have that. Jose, don't let us down. And then
I'll try.
Sly Ubeezy said Chivas gonna win. Well, we shall see.
We'll see about that.
We will see about that. I mean, in conclusion, the penales, Meneses blew it, and Avioncito blew it, and the rest is history. We lost, but looking forward, we will be facing Chivas. Before we talk about the Chivas game, kind of what happened during that game was pretty funny. We were having one discussion off of camera, and we noticed that Gigliotti was on the palco, which was funny because we're like, is that him? Is that not him? Which is funny. And then we saw in the second half during a water break the presentation of just how Leon has to do it Leon style. What was it like in a
projector
side or projector?
It was a projection. It was a projection on the wall of an adjoining building.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, presenting him in style. So that was very cool. I was just like, what's happening? I'm like, oh, that's dope. Like they just nailed it. Even during a pandemic, they know how to present a player. So talking about our current squad, obviously the departure of Sambuesa was evident. We knew that Nacho Ambriz was not going to take him, kind of not play with them, which we definitely had a discussion last podcast. And we were talking about Gigliotti, which Toluca will be paying his salary, so I guess we don't have to worry about that aspect. Yeah. But guys, talking about Gigliotti, what are we thinking? Like, are we just like, yes, come with we're open arms, like we will take you in and play for us, or what are we thinking?
Well, like Luis was mentioning, I think on the chat, in earlier days, like with any player that the moment they come into Leon, they'll be received with open arms. They'll be all the luck in the world for them to like do well here.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just have to give it some time and see. Like at least from like what we've seen from Ramos and they're not the same player, but they have similar characteristics, which like help us to like compare them, if you will. So if if he goes the same way, I think we might be seeing this in history. I hope I'm wrong for the benefit of the team, but that's what I think. That we didn't get the guy that we were supposed to.
I was replying, I think, to a thread of yours on Twitter, Jose, that he fits the same profile. He's coming in with a similar profile to Leo Ramos, not the kind of striker that's going to fit our system. But that does not mean that his story here will end up being told the same way. It doesn't guarantee that his story here will end up being told the same way. He could very well end up being a much more noticeable contributor. And every player, doesn't matter who it is, every player, even if you're like, why that guy? Think of how many guys who've come in who we knew nothing about. We could name 5 or 6 guys who are now, we had talked about this in an earlier podcast, we named 5 or 6 guys who are now cornerstones of our franchise, who we knew nothing about when they came in and we complained about. We're like, who's this? This is just some desecho. But anyone who comes in deserves the benefit of the doubt, either until they have had long enough to determine they don't deserve that benefit of the doubt anymore, or they clear that doubt completely by showing us that they can contribute. So hopefully the latter in Gigliotti's case comes true. I'm optimistic about it. It wasn't that long ago that he came in as an absolute crack signing for Toluca, and I like to think just the little offense that they generated there for him the entire time he was there didn't allow for his best qualities to shine through. And I'm hoping that maybe here will be a different story. It could very easily not be, but I'm hoping that it will be.
So one thing I'd like to add between, I guess, the differences and the similarities between Gigliotti and Ramos. When Ramos got here, he came here as a goleador. He was known to be Lobos WAP's goleador, right? He had good numbers to back him up. But Gigliotti doesn't really have the numbers to back him up in recent seasons, I think. I was reading some comments from Toluca fans on Twitter when he got basically shipped out here, saying that he didn't really have the best effect on the team in the past season or two. So that's the only thing I can add is that when Ramos came here, we all thought he was going to be a goleador because that's what he was coming over as. And Gigliotti doesn't have the numbers to back him up right now. So
maybe he'll have a little bit less pressure on him for that reason. Like I think Leo Ramos came in expecting to be the goleador too. And then when he struggled so much to score, that I think it started getting into his head. We have so many weapons. Maybe Gigliotti won't feel that same pressure. And maybe that'll serve him well. I don't know. But that's a good point, Carlos.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. In regards to that note, I think we're still waiting on the Leo Ramos aspect, which was very curious on the second half of the Pachuca, where, he came in and he missed his penalty, but he was able to get it in, and his celebration, and then, it was kind of a big question mark on, okay, so what's going on? Obviously, there's still a chance for him to leave, but Tom posted a tweet today regarding Leo Ramos, in which Jose and Louis had a couple questions about. So, Tom, just lay out your tweet in regards to Leo Ramos and his XG.
Yeah, so not even just going into the style of his play, which we talked about before, but purely talking about him in terms of goal scoring. What he did at Lobos was basically he massively outscored his expected goals number. So expected goals is a method of analyzing the quality of chances that a player has. So you're looking at if a shot was where a shot's taken from, like how far away from the goal it was it taken from a really tight angle, or is it centrally? Is it a header? Is it with the foot? And there's models that look at tens of thousands of shots historically and can say pretty accurately, based on past shots, a header from 10 meters out centrally has a possibility of being scored of whatever percentage. And then that becomes what people call now expected goals. It would perhaps make a little bit more sense if people call it goal probability. I think that kind of is a bit easier to understand, but this is what people call it. So if you looked at what he did at Lobos, from his chances, he was expected to score 0.28 goals per 90. He ended up scoring, and this is taking away the penalties, right? So this is just open play.
Okay.
He ended up scoring 0.61 goals per 90 minutes. So he scored more than double what he was expected. So he had what we like to call in the data analysis world a hot streak. He went through something which a lot of players do, a lot of strikers do, just a run of games where he just kept hitting the back of the net for whatever reason, whether it was just some goalkeepers made some errors for him, whether it was just he was full of confidence for that moment and he kept hitting the corners, whatever. But that is just not sustainable. Like, no player can do this. Not even Lionel Messi can continue to score at this rate above the quality of chances that he had. So he comes to Leon and he actually ended up scoring 0.3 goals per 90 from an expected goals of 0.21. So he scored from the chances he had, his finishing was pretty good, but it was nowhere near as good as it was at Lobos. But from looking at those numbers, I could have said, that's not going to continue. It may continue for another month, 2 months, 3 months. It's not going to continue for years and years and years. So actually what he did at Leon isn't a huge surprise looking at the numbers.
So it's
now, go on.
So you will say it was to be expected, basically.
He did a little bit worse, which is perhaps included in the style of play. He received a few fewer chances than he did at Lobos.
That's interesting.
Due to the fact that Lobos was a team that was built around him, right? He was only number 9, and the team was built to kind of create chances for him. Whereas, Leon is an attack that's more based around spreading the goals around to different players. So he did a little bit worse than he did in Lobos, but the reason for the big difference in goals scored is just due to, at Lobos, he was on a hot streak of finishing for a few months, and that ended. And he did more like what he was expected to do.
So it was like
go ahead, Jose.
So it was a one-time season wonder.
It was exactly. He, at Lobos, he really had a one-season wonder. Absolutely.
Props to him for building his reputation for himself off of that one season, coming in here as getting a contract and coming in here as with high expectations. I just want to say that I feel like they've tried to play to maximize his chances when he's been on the field, like they did for Lobos. They played that way for stretches. Like, we've got this goal scorer on the field who can't contribute unless we try to contribute or try to create chances for him. And I think the team hasn't looked at its best when they've played that way, because it's just not how they're built. But I mean, I think he must be on his way out, but they just can't. I mean, where's the deal? Where's the deal for him? Who's going to take him? Where's he going to go? Just days pass and all these rumors, but nothing concrete.
We thought he was gonna go to Orlando City, but it turns out that maybe just like his agent trying to offer him to Orlando City or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Just one more aside about Gigliotti. I don't care about saving millionaires' money, but what a great business transaction they made. We get rid of Sambuesa's money contract, and then turns out Toluca's still going to be paying Gigliotti's. So,
I mean, that's really filled up the foreign player quota. So I think they had.
You could see that 2 ways. Like, that's either a really good thing or it's a bad thing. But I don't think it is. At least from I actually wrote down all his I put it on a thread on Twitter, all the first words that Gigliotti said to the media, and I mean, at least from his attitude, he doesn't give me that vibe. So I think at least the rumors that I heard from him are probably unfounded, I hope. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you'll see what happens. I think what you've said about him being similar is absolutely right. If you were to ask me, find the player in the world most similar to Leo Ramos, I would show you Gigliotti, to be quite honest. But let's not forget, and Louis made a very good point, that Toluca have been a poor team in recent years, and their attack has not functioned well. When he joined Toluca, he did come off being, I believe he was top scorer in Argentina, or if not top, he was right near the top.
Yeah.
And, you know, his numbers at Independiente are actually pretty damn good. I know that's a couple of years ago now, but he certainly has more historic pedigree than Leo Ramos, who really came from nothing to have that one season at Lobos, whereas Gigliotti's been around the Argentine league for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's one big difference. He has that history to back him up. He's been in teams like Boca Juniors and Independiente, which are big teams in Argentina.
Yeah. We have a couple of comments in the chat. Saludos, Sergio, eres un orgullo. Los escucho cada lunes. That's my dad. Thanks, Dad, for watching. He is a Pumas fan, so he just loves me. That's why he. Then we have Israel _Verde, who has, I think he joined us last week. Ramos does not have a place in the lineup. El Puma will have that place as a number 9. And then
we'll see about that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think he should score. He should have scored a lot more goals. He had much better team to take advantage of. Look at Boselli. He scored as many goals as Gignac and Funes Mori with a team without the Tigres or Monterrey players.
He had Elias Hernandez though.
Yeah,
big difference.
Yeah.
Big
That's
difference.
a huge feeder.
Yeah.
And Boselli's class.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's he didn't
he's another level.
He didn't score 130 goals for no reason.
Yeah. They don't call him El Matador for no reason.
For no reason.
He wasn't Wigan Athletics record signing in the Premier League for no reason.
Yeah, they don't view him with the same cariño that we do though.
he was a big flop in England.
He was. I remember when
but,
he came.
You know, he didn't work out there, and he ended up at Leon. And I mean, what a signing that was.
Yeah.
Scorpio Legree, Leon 3-1. Excel loves it and it creates an opportunity. He says arriba. Huge fan of La Fiera like us. Anything else on Gigliotti? Or Tom, didn't you have? Oh, and then Israel Verde said, "Be careful with Toluca because Tobillo is COVID-19 positive. They are making him practice now, knowing that he."
Actually, I have something to say about that. He just got fired, and then Toluca is suing him, which I don't know. That's kind of shit.
What?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I retweeted. If you want to see it, I think it's on my personal one. But yeah.
Well, it's all going on. I mean, there was Vucetich rumors today, and
oh yeah, and then he said, yeah, he's suing. Oh, that could be a novela during the week. That could, that could just go on.
That's like up the alleys of the Afro, like the Players Association. So they better do something good. That's kind of focus. From what I heard, from what he said, Toluca forced him to train. So
no, it's going to be a battle of he said, they said,
Yeah.
Damn. Well, we will see what happens. Of course, we'll keep updated on Twitter. Now let's just talk about the preview versus Chivas. You can see at the bottom of the screen, Leon versus Chivas, Saturday at 7 p.m. Central. What a game, right? At the beginning, the first game of the season, both teams coming from a loss, and we're gonna face each other, and it's kind of like, hey, we're gonna have to, make a statement the first game, which I know Louis just would love to massacre them like 5-0 and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, off camera he was like, let's just go to Akron. Like, what do you mean? Like, what are we gonna do out there? Just carne asada and we'll just pull out a TV?
No, there's some nooks and crannies. I think we can find a way to sneak in. Yeah.
How are we feeling in this game versus Chivas? Are we confident? Are we, I think we've kind of had both vibes from the first game versus Juarez, like, oh, we're confident, but then the second game, kind of like, were we too confident? For me, I think I'm confident. I think, obviously Chivas coming from a loss versus Cruz Azul, but I don't know, guys. I feel like our team, I feel good. I feel like even though we kind of have, both positive, negative of the two pre-games, I think for the most part, our players are fit. They're just in great shape. They're kind of continuing the same momentum that they've had. But I don't know what your thoughts are.
I feel confident, but I also don't want to be too confident. But I mean, I definitely want to win this game. It's like this is probably like the perfect season. Well, maybe not the perfect, but a good season opener because it's not really like a clásico anymore, but it used to be a clásico, and still there's a big rivalry between León and Chivas. So I definitely want to win. I don't want to lose. I won't take an L for a result. So
I won't even accept the draw. Like a draw would be a loss for me. I don't know. Like this it's just I've grown to dislike Chivas mostly because of their really just oblivious fan base to how mediocre they've been for so long, but insisting on still being considered the best team in Mexico, which they haven't been really since maybe the 1960s.
Louis, what do you really think about their uniform? Like, what do you really like? The home one and the away kit. Like, be honest.
I think I only saw a picture of the away kit, and it looked okay.
The ice cream
looking one? The home one, so I can't comment on that. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
The popsicle one, yeah.
It looks like a firecracker, like a firecracker popsicle. I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're the fan base. Thinking about kids.
Criticize.
Yeah, we're not.
Our cement dude that we're probably gonna have next jersey.
Other teams kid, like we're just not.
Yeah, but you got to put things into perspective too. People were talking about that white jersey, the Charlie jersey that Pachuca had on in the match, and how much they liked it, and how clean and nice they thought it was. And then you go back to the León white jersey from 2 seasons ago, that looks exactly the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
And nobody liked it. Nobody liked it. Everybody complained about it. Yeah, I have that one. I have all of them. But then the Pachuca came out with one that looked exactly like that, and everybody thought, León, this is what you need. This is what you need to do with your jersey. You can still have Cementos Fortaleza.
Like, how is this attractive?
Is that Cementos guy that looks bigger?
It's a cement dude.
That's done in theirs. Like, I don't know why theirs is smaller and ours is bigger.
It's huge.
But I mean, it was still pretty noticeable. You know, my point is like
they make a better job of kind of blending it in than we do.
I don't know. To me, it looked exactly the same as our white jersey from two versions ago that everybody complained about. And I'm like, come on, guys, there's only so much that can be done when you have to incorporate that many sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, we have someone here saying Pirma's running out of ideas. Well, I'd like to see.
They've been running out of ideas.
I'd like to see Nike do much better, like with that amount of sponsors that they have to incorporate. I don't know.
I am sad to tell you that no, we're not going to see Nike. Well,
can we get Adidas?
We might see. I don't know if we see this is a point that I think one of the he's usually a collectionista. He collects jerseys from León. He's pretty big on Twitter. But he makes valid points. Do you think our fan base with our economic in León at least do you think they're gonna spend that much money for a jersey? Because it's definitely going to be a lot more expensive than what it is now.
But this is the thing, though. I feel like just our fan base, they will buy it. Look at Louis; he will buy it.
They will though.
Louis
But
has
like,
some of the
how
ugliest
many people are
jerseys
they gonna buy it?
in our history.
I don't know.
I do. I have all of them.
Well, I mean, he does, but like, not
Yeah.
everyone likes that.
Not everyone. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
No, but guys, most people are. Most everybody
Most
who's
people
around
are-
me
oh,
in the
I know,
stands
I know.
have all the new ones. I mean, they just go out and buy them. They just do. It's you just. I mean, if you're the kind of person who goes to the. What do you say?
what's beer and soccer jerseys, they will do anything like
Yeah.
for it. So, I wouldn't be
If you're the kind of
surprised.
fan who goes to every game, you're also the kind of fan who buys. Sure, there are people who might buy a Pyramid jersey for $800 and won't buy a Nike one for whatever $1,200, $12 or $1,600 or whatever it might be. But most of us, if you're willing to spend $800 on a jersey, and if you've done it once, you'll do it again.
Yeah, easily.
But I wasn't saying I want to see Nike be our jersey sponsor. I was saying I want to see Nike try to make a good design. Still, people think it's the brand. People think the problem is Pirma. I don't necessarily think the problem is Pirma. They have to incorporate so many sponsors. I don't think any brand would be able to make a jersey that most people would find attractive, having to incorporate that many sponsors. But for me, it's not about that. I want what the players are wearing on the field. That's why I buy it. I want people to see it and know the difference between what is the one that the players wear and what is not. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the sponsors. I know I'm in the minority there. I'm probably one of the few people who had an extra sponsor, especially put on a jersey because I wanted it to look like the one on the field, because the first batches of these jerseys often come out missing stuff. Like the first batch of the last one didn't have C Solar on it. And I'm like, well, I don't want one that doesn't say C Solar because the ones that the players are wearing says C Solar. So I took it to my customizer. The same people who puts the name and number in the pattern. I told him, look, Fabian, his name is Fabian. Shout out to Fabian. He's a really, really good jersey guy. But like, I want you to put C Solar on this jersey for me. Can you do that? And he's like, Louis, I can do that for you. So he did, and I had an extra sponsor put on my jersey, so it would look like the ones, because they took forever. It took forever to come out with the ones that looked like the ones that the players wore. Yeah.
Louis, I'm sorry, but that is blasphemy, Louis. You should be looking at taking it off, not putting it on.
Yeah.
That's the story. That's Louis' story time. The time that I got an extra sponsor put on my jersey.
That's my story. That's my story about the jerseys.
Yes, which we will have like a Louis short story time each pod, because this man travels everywhere and has stuff happening to him. What was I gonna say? Oh, Isla Verde said about getting Charlie. The only thing I'm contemplating with Charlie is,
well, I did. I hope to be able to again.
I mean, we've seen it with Santos and Atlas. Like they're owned by the same. It's kind of like, let's just switch the colors. It's just, I don't like. I get it. We have the sponsors, but you can be so much creative. Just the background of it, like. I don't know what's the best thing to do at this point.
Well, I mean, Pachuca's with Charlie, and we just saw their new kits, and it looks exactly like ours. So, I mean, is it really a big difference?
Yeah.
I think what it is, just like Louis was saying, is that what we need to, like, if the problem is not the kit manufacturer, if the problem is the sponsors, what we need to do is sit down and figure out how to reduce the sponsors and get bigger, more prominent sponsors that can get us the same amount of money.
Yeah, because isn't it like the bigger the sponsor, the more money we get? I mean, that's why we have it plastered on like my stomach, right? Like,
I mean, like, I heard, like, regarding Charlie, this is just a rumor that I heard. I have nothing to back it up. Like that supposedly, Jesus Martinez has already sat down with Charlie and it signed a 2-year contract. And I'm not sure when it's gonna like start, but like it's just a rumor, and like it's nothing like that you can verify right now. But yeah, it's supposedly he already signed a contract with them for 3 years or something. I'm not really sure when it's supposed to start. If it's true.
Well, do you think it'd be at the end of our contract with Birma? Probably when we finish that contract.
That's what would make sense because I
Mhm.
think last time we talked about this, I think we still have like
Yeah.
a year left.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I think they're gonna live out the entire contract with Birma.
Yeah, I remember
probably
that
just
sketch that Carlos did with no sponsors, and it looks so clean. I was like, why can't we just? Maybe we should just like send it to a place, make some jerseys for us, and just have them and just wear them at the Lions Den podcast.
I'll pay double for one of those.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about this off camera, but that's that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think people are too hard generally on Pirma. I don't think Pirma's the problem so much as why our jerseys are so ugly so much as all the stuff that has to go on them. I remember when the special edition 75th anniversary came out, the fan edition, not the one that they ended up using on the field, but the fan edition that didn't have anything on it, and how much everybody loved it.
That was,
people just loved it. That was a great, and that was Pirma. I mean, if you want to criticize Pirma for like the quality of the fabric that they use or whatever to go into the garment, that's a different story. But just the way the jersey looks, I just, even the greatest, most prestigious brand in the world would have a hard time making an attractive looking jersey with all those sponsors.
Yeah.
So I think people are,
That's why like Nike and Adidas are only with clubs in Mexico that have a few sponsors.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a limit of how many sponsors that they deal with because like you say, there comes a point where it just becomes impossible, and they don't want for their brand to make something that is plastered with sponsors and doesn't look
maybe
right.
that's why we don't
fair play to people like Pirma and Charlie who are kind of willing to take on the challenge of making these sponsor covered jerseys.
Well, I mean, on the bright side, they are Mexican owned brands, so I guess that's
not just that, it's Leon. So is Charlie. Both Charlie and Pirma are local Guanajuato brands. So like that, I mean that's.
I guess that's
nice to have that.
I've got quite a few Charlie stuff and
connection.
Like I have no complaints about Charlie stuff.
But I guess we will see what happens. I mean, guys, you hear us talk about this. I mean, this is what we talk about. It's our brand. Of course, we love our team. I'm gonna buy the jerseys regardless of what. I mean, look at Louis. He buys the barcode jerseys. Like we're gonna buy them. You know, like it is what it is. But
hey, that barcode jersey's clutch, Cody. You don't know what you're talking about.
I've seen it in person. I've seen it. I'm just like, Tom, look at the barcode jersey.
Like, dude, Cody showed me live, and I was like, no, not that one, not that one. Get the green one. No, not that
one. The green one, Cody. The green one. Okay. I just wanted you to show you how the barcode looks live. Like,
no.
But anyway,
and they don't even have to scan your ticket when you go in. They just scan your jersey.
Can you imagine how cool that'd be?
Like, guys, who in their right mind thought that was a good idea? Put a bar. Oh yeah, let's put a barcode on a jersey. Yeah.
No,
I honestly think they were printing one out and they just ran out of ink and they went, "Hey,
that
looks good. That looks good."
No, you know what would be cool if. Like for the Fierabonos, right? If they actually got like a QR code to scan them in every game and just be like, you won't have to, just that would be so cool. Okay, if that comes out, I'm claiming it. That's my idea.
You should.
Honestly, that would be a great way of making money. Like you can buy a ticket to this game, or you can buy a shirt with your ticket on it.
That would be so dope. That would be scan like every game, like. Yeah.
You better not get
and you'll always have that memory. Imagine a LIGA match or like a really big special game. You'll always have that shirt with the memory of that was for that game only.
Guys, someone called Jose Fernandez de Quevedo right now.
What?
In case you don't know, he's our marketing director.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Israel Verde said, "Hey, I got Donovan's. That's how willing I am to buy them."
Hey, I showed you my Donovan jersey earlier today when I was lamenting the fact that that his number 20 has not been retired. It's going to be used by Gigliotti.
Yeah.
And that leaves a question: who's gonna get the number 9? Ramos is it?
I don't know. You guys read into that a lot. I don't know if that really means anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just I was just thought it was interesting. Like he got 20, Ramos has 31. So
Yeah.
Well, when I can't remember when Macias didn't use number 9, who used and Ramos wasn't there his first season. So who was using the number 9 in the Clausura 2019? I can't remember.
I can.
Was anybody?
Maybe not.
Like Clausura 19.
Can't remember.
Oh, was it Walter Gonzalez?
You're right.
Yeah. I always forget his name.
No.
I'm always like,
well,
no, Israel Verde Macias did not use number 9. He used 21.
The guy who gave away the Copa MX.
That guy that missed that one penalty.
oh God, that was frustrating.
Yeah.
Guys, we have someone who has stuck with us from the beginning of the Lions Den podcast, who we question what happened to this viewer. It's Chango Loco. He said, easy win for Leon game.
Dude, where you been?
Yeah, where you been, Chango Loco?
We missed
you.
In
a while.
We missed you. Especially for the San Luis game.
Especially Javier, which he is not here with us, but especially he missed you. He always asks us where you were.
Yes. Good to know you're still doing good, Chango Loco. I guess we are almost out of time, so let's just say it. I think we're gonna. Oh, he said I'm busy with graduate school. LOL.
Okay.
Awesome.
Nice.
Good luck, my dude.
Get that title, man.
So looking into the preview, I think it might be maybe a lineup kind of what we saw for the first game. Do you guys think Nico Sosa will start, or up top is looking different?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on the Ramos situation, if that ends up playing out in a certain way before Saturday, or how quickly Gigliotti se acopla, or if they want to even use him as a start. I don't imagine he'll start. I imagine Nico Sosa will start, but I'll bet Gigliotti gets some minutes.
I think Sosa start. I think it's more the question of who'll be with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's the youngster,
Armando
Leon.
Yeah,
but I mean, he already has a goal, like an official Liga MX goal under his belt, and Nico Sosa doesn't.
Yeah,
maybe that'll put him over the hump.
You know what?
But I got the impression. Sorry, Jose. Just quickly.
Go ahead.
I got the impression through these first 2 games that they're going to trust Nico Sosa, that they're going to give him minutes, and then he might even be the guy they're thinking about as the starter. That's the impression I got. Armando Leon, we didn't have anything to say about him the entire show. He's kind of, I don't know if he's fallen out of favor. I hope not, because I think he's got a lot of promise. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they're gonna go with Nico Sosa up top. I just get that impression, at least to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily has fallen out of promise. It's just that what Nacho tried is to play a 4-4-2, and that pairing, they're not in sync. If that pairing is gonna need more work if he wants to try that. And right now he doesn't have that luxury. So I think he's probably gonna play not with 2 strikers. At least center forwards, like they both are. And I don't. And then.
Are we gonna start Joel Campbell? That's the other question.
That's what I'm thinking.
That might happen too. Yeah. So I think that would make sense. Put Joel Campbell with Nico Sosa, but that's all depending on Puma Gigliotti, because Nacho said today that he was gonna talk with Gigliotti and on the weekend to see if he thinks he could be ready for going at least to the bench on versus Chivas. So it's we'll see, but I think at least as a started, I would start Campbell and Nico Sosa.
Yes.
Yes. I guess we will see what lineup looks like. I think in regards to Gigliotti, I think, and I repeat this because I sometimes when new players come in, I can be kind of harsh, but I think giving them time and how they are going to adapt to the team. So even though, the Ramos Gigliotti looks like a copy and paste, I think maybe it could be different with Gigliotti, like Louis was saying. He could have a different adaptation to the team. He could bring something else. Who knows? I mean, time will tell. And I think we'll see how that, works out during the season of giving him minutes. I don't know. We have lots of options. And like I said, it's a good headache because I think we've lacked some, depth in the bench. And I think we have that now. So we'll keep an eye on the whole Ramos situation as well. We don't know. We don't know if maybe we'll get another signing. Who knows? I mean, the transfer window isn't closing anytime soon. So we still have time. Who knows? We know our Leon. But before we leave, because we'll try and close this out soon, it's prediction time. So, first game prediction. I think I'm going to keep count so I can just keep count and see who's been pretty, consistent during this Lions and Pod season. But Jose, let's start off with you. Your prediction for Saturday night's game, Leon versus Chivas, first game of Guardianes 2020. What's your prediction?
I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna go with at least from what I saw in the preseason for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be a 3-2 win for us. That's what I see.
3-2 win.
And yeah.
3-2 win. Louis, your prediction.
I'm usually the one who's more willing to give the crazy predictions when you guys are a little more conservative, but I think I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win only. I think both Leon and you could say Chivas have been, from what we've seen of the teams that we've been able to watch in preseason, who participated in these Copas de Latón, have looked like two of arguably the stronger sides. I think Leon has more weapons. I think they look readier. I want to believe that their performance against Pachuca had more to do with what Tom was saying. He's thinking a lot more about Saturday than he was about this past Friday, with good reason. And I think they're going to go out and give a tough fight. I'm a little conservative because we've been on good form the last couple times we've played in Estadio Akron and gone in and looked terrible and lost. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to win, but I think it's going to be a little tighter scoreline. 2-1 Leon win.
2-1. Jose, you said 3-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Louis said 2-1. Carlos, what is your prediction, sir?
I'm also going to go the conservative route. So just like Louis, I'm going to say 2-1. I don't think they want to get into a running game with us because in the open field, maybe the most team in the league. So I think they're gonna be not defensive, but I think they're gonna look out for us on the counterattack open field. But it'll be a pretty tight game. So I'm gonna say 2-1 Leon.
2-1 Leon. Let's have our not biased guest, Tom. I'm curious. What is your prediction?
Liga making predictions.
What do you think, Don? Who's gonna win?
What's your prediction?
I agree with Jose. It's a game I can see there being a few goals in, but it's the sort of game I can see there being a few goals in, and then it ends up being 0-0 at halftime with like 2 shots, because that's what normally happens in Liga Mekis. I'll go 2-2. I think.
Okay.
I think both teams have got a lot of attacking weapons. Chivas, I'm still not exactly sure about them, but certainly they've got a lot of players who can cause problems on the counter if they get a bit of space, and I think they'll get a few opportunities against that.
Okay, 2-2 draw. I'm gonna go with the 3-1. I like
Wow.
being very optimistic. Maybe Louis will have some more
You're
faith
right.
in me that when it's my Leon against Chivas, it's Leon. If it's Chivas America, it's impossible to have America win. But I would go with the 3-1. I think we look good. I'm hoping even if Tom's right about going 0-0 halftime, they can just wake up and close the game out. Who knows? I guess we'll see how our defense starts shaping up from the beginning of the season. So I'm going to go with the 3-1. Israel Verde, his prediction said Leon 2-1. And then Chango Loco says Leon wins 3-2. Okay.
Nice.
So we will see what Javier's prediction is so you can join our prediction time. So on the screen, Jose said 3-2, Louis 2-1, Carlos 2-1, Tom 2-2 draw, and I said 3-1. I don't know why I put 2. I'll fix it.
Everyone thinks both teams will score. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will see. But yeah, guys, that is the end of our show. We have gone 10 minutes over time, but it's okay. Because this is Monday Night Football, the Lions Den podcast, episode 36, Guardianes 2020. We can't wait to see Leon back in action versus Chivas. We hope to come back next Monday, talk about how Victory Monday will be for us. I mean, I'm being very optimistic, but come on.
Hopefully.
I'm just very excited. And we will see what our jersey looks like because they kind of changed the date. So we're supposed to be seeing how this new jersey looks like. Louis obviously already pre-ordered it, so he just needs to go pick it up. So we will have a picture of it Friday. But yeah, we'll definitely share that. Thank you everybody who joined on YouTube and Periscope. So shout out to Wiso, shout out to You Already Know, shout out to Sly BZ, Israel Verde, who is a fiera because he's been just keeping up with the comments throughout the whole show. Shout out to my dad, always supporting. Shout out to Scorpio Legree, and shout out to what else? Well, Chango Loco, thanks for joining us. We missed you for real. We were like, what happened to Chango Loco? He said, take care, guys. Take care, too.
Thank you.
But yeah, guys, follow us on all social media. Follow Club Leon E and the best Club Leon English Twitter account, keeping you posted with everything Club Leon in English. You can see Carlos @ right there on the screen. Follow Louis for Louis Adventures in Leon. So I'm pretty sure he'll nos va a presentar la jersey through there. Follow La Fiesta podcast, always keeping up with everything that's happening at the club, with interviews, everything you need to know. Obviously, Tom, you did not put your Twitter handle, but we can follow Tom at Tom Harrison on Twitter with everything in stats regarding Liga MX. Don't forget to follow the pod. Scan your QR code at the bottom for Las Porras de los de Arriba Oficial, and follow us on the Lions Den podcast on the other QR code. I'm talking really fast. Thank you guys for joining us on another Monday Night Football. Take care. Arriba El León, and we will see you guys on a next episode of the Lions Den podcast.